Dr. Dorothy Armstrong, and I'm an occupational therapist. I've been involved with this amazing sensibility project over the last year, which has resulted in a lot of different toys for you to borrow for children with additional needs. What I want to show you today is the school pack for concentration. So we have this pack here that can be borrowed by schools. I think it would work for primary or secondary schools. So traditionally, we always thought that young people needed to sit still in order to focus and concentrate. And if we saw a young person moving or squirming in their seat, we thought they're not listening. But for neurodiverse children, that's autistic children or children with things like ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, those children generally tend to move in order to concentrate. And if they're sitting still, they're probably not concentrating at all. So we need to find inclusive ways within a classroom setting to enable people to get the movement they need to stay awake. And it's like as adults, we move and we fidget to stay awake. We might twirl our hair or play with a pen in a meeting if we're there a long time. So let's look at what we have here for children. What you're trying to do is find things that are inclusive to everyone. So you don't want fidget tools that are noisy or are incredibly visually attractive, so other kids are kind of watching and looking at them. Let me show you some ideas. Here's a great ruler. I'll just put that here. Now, nobody's going to know that's a fidget tool. It's called a desk buddy. And it can sit on the desk and you can move it and fidget with it, and you'll see there's different textures on it. And something as simple as that can enable a young person to stay in their seat and concentrate. And we've got smaller versions of that. So we've got these little ones here. So I'll just put this down. And we've got little small ones in our little packs here. There's a pack of 3. And you could try these out with the children in your class and see what works for them. And again, you can move that, squeeze it, and run the fingers over it, and that will enable somebody to be able to concentrate. For children that really struggle with concentration, we're actually looking for something they can squeeze or pull, because that's what we call proprioceptive movement. Now, proprioception comes from the nerve endings in the muscles and joints, basically. And if you're pulling or squeezing something, you're using that proprioceptive system, and that wakes the brain up, and it helps with concentration. These are my very favorite. These are little spirals. Nobody's going to think that's unusual. It doesn't look strange. And you give that to the child and they can pull at that and be pulling at it like that, and that can really help them stay awake during lessons. Now, the thing with any of these fidget tools is you want to enable the child to use this in a way that includes everyone. Basically use it under the table so no one else is being distracted by it. Don't throw it, don't be spinning it around. It should be under the table, and the person shouldn't need to look at it because it's only a tool for the hands. Eyes can go on the board or on the teacher, and if it's not in use, it can go in the pencil case. It's really important people know how to use the fidget tools really well, because I guarantee you there'll be a child in that class distracted by what they see, and whatever we do has to work for everyone. Here's another very simple little tool. It's just a lock and block, and it can be manipulated around like that, and again can help the person stay alert. So the other pieces we have in this kit are to do with a thing called visual stress, which you're probably very aware of. This is when we're reading from a white sheet of paper and the black ink hurts the young person's eyes and the print tends to raise and even move. And the way we can help with that is simply by using these little overlays. So we have 2 different types. We've got page overlays in different colors that we can put over the page to tone the colors down. And we get them in all of these different colors, yellow, jade, blues. And you've got a whole pack of colors so the young person can try these over the page they're reading and see what really works for them. Basically ask them, what do you find comfortable? Has the print stopped moving? Has it stopped kind of lifting from the page? And it's amazing the difference these coloured overlays can be for young people. You'll see that person there has it over her book. So you can do a whole page, but for children who also have difficulty with what we call tracking, that is not losing your place when you read, you could use some of these reading trackers. So they go over the line and just the one line of print is visible then. And there's different colours here for you to try. There's yellows and pinks and blues that could be put over, and it helps with the tracking as well as reducing the visual glare. So they're all in that concentration and stress kit. I also pulled out, there's some extra things like fidget cubes as well in there, and little tangles. They're really nice for younger primary school children. For secondary school, that might be a little bit too big and too obvious, but primary school children can fidget with something like that. And that's all in our little pack here, and you can borrow the whole pack as a school. The other little standalones I wanted to show you, these are borrowed separately, but if you're interested in that whole piece I spoke to you about visual stress, this is an amazing little assessment kit that could be used in a school or by a parent. And what you've got in here is you have the different little overlays, lots of different colours that the child can try, just here. And we've got samples of reading material in here as well. I'll just show you one. I'll pull that out there. That's rather big, but you get them in all sorts of size of fonts, right down to what you'd usually see in a book. And you can put the little coloured overlays over for the child and see what's comfortable for them. And you can just ask them, when you're looking at that, is it flashing? Do the words move? Is it lifting? And then do the little coloured overlays help? So that's a fantastic kit that you might want to try in your school setting. Now, the other little helps that are here on the table these are time timers. These are amazing for people who really struggle with concentration. Now, you wouldn't say you need to get this done in 10 minutes. You would say you only have to concentrate for 10 minutes and then you can have a break. And as well as showing the young person when they can get a break, it's also teaching time awareness. How long does 10 minutes feel? That would be maybe for a secondary school student. And we've got the bigger one for the primary school student. And you can see the disc goes round. So you can see the red disc going back. And then when it reaches the end, it makes a little dinging sound. And it's not too loud or too annoying for people. And there's a battery that you'd need to place in the back. So they're the time timers. They're great tools. Other little tools that can help. Of course, you'll all be aware of the ear defenders. Ear defenders are essential. So you have children maybe doing PE and the sound is too loud and it's so dysregulating for them and upsetting. Or even in a classroom setting, if lots of tables are being moved, or it's a particularly loud lesson, it's really empowering for the young person to have the option to pop these on if sound is getting too loud. So they're the ear defenders. Now, when we're thinking of children needing to move as far as we possibly can at all, we want to keep them in the class. So we want ways for them to move in their chair. So we've got tools for the hands, and then we also want some really simple tools to allow the feet to move. So this goes under your feet in sitting. So you put it on the ground. This is a really good foot fidget for the ground, and you can move your feet on that. So the person is staying in seated position, but they're able to have a little bit of movement, which is the difference to them being able to concentrate and stay in class. So another type of foot fidget would be this one. This one is highly textured, so the young person might actually like to be in their stocking feet for this one, and it separates, so you can have one under each foot. With shoes, we'll still allow movement, and stocking feet, you're getting additional sensory input, and that can be great to enable the person to stay in their seat and be able to be included in the lesson. Another type of foot fidget is the roller. Now, how this works is it goes under the chair, and this is on each leg of the chair. And then the child can either put their foot on it and be rolling back and forth, or they can put their feet behind it and be pushing forward, which gives them a little proprioceptive input, which I had mentioned before, which is great for focus and concentration. So that's the foot roller fidget. Now, other things that can help with concentration are the move and sit cushions, and there's two types. There's this one, which is the disco sit. And what you will do with this is the child will sit on it, and I would just pump that down a little bit so it's not too high in the pump. So maybe till about there. So there's a bit of give in it. If it's too up, they'll find it hard to balance on it. Now, if a child has poor core muscle strength, please don't use that, because they'll be working so hard to balance on it, they won't be able to concentrate. This is for the young person who's got good core muscle strength and needs to move. Whereas if you have a young person with something like dyspraxia, you're far better off with one of these. And we've got the bigger one or the smaller one. And again, we would pump it to about this and place it in the chair. That will also help with sitting posture as well as allowing a little bit of movement, which is fantastic. Now, the last piece I want to show you is not so much for movement, but for when a child becomes very dysregulated or even upset. Something heavy can be very calming in that instance. So we have these little gorgeous little dogs, and they're quite heavy, they're weighted, and they could sit on a lap, and that can be very calming. Now, you wouldn't use that all day. Unlike the little move and sit cushions, these you would use just for, the child kind of gets used to these quite quickly and they're no longer effective. So say if it's a lesson a child finds particularly distressing, perhaps maths or even Irish, and they're worried about that, maybe giving them something like this for that lesson might be very helpful. So they're just some of the ideas we have within the Sensibility collection. And when you have a look at the catalogue online, and we'll also have some catalogues, some hard copies as well, you'll find other ideas there too. So I hope that you're going to find these really useful in your classroom settings to allow those children who need to move when they need to, but also be included and be able to remain within the class for as long as possible. Thank you.